Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new, I'm Robin. I'm a manifestation coach. I teach people how to transform all aspects of their life. I just released a free training on manifesting wealth. Click on the below link in the description box to have access to it. I also share my personal wealth affirmations that I use to attract wealth. Do me a favor, if you like this video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. Let's get started. Today's video is on what you desire desires you. So this is just an example of how the universe matches you up with the thing that you desire. And then that bridge, I talk about the bridge of incidents. So that's the series of events that occur between the time you get the thought of having the desire to the time that you actually, I hate even using the word manifest because you're not creating anything. It's when you actually line up with it because it's already created. Anyway, having the wish fulfilled, let's put it that way. So, back in 2017, now I've talked about this example in some past videos. I haven't talked about it in this detail. July of 2017. So I had the initial thought and desire to own a Jeep. I was driving a Honda, loved my Honda. I owned Hondas for years. And for all of a sudden, I had been getting obsessed with Jeeps. A friend of mine, I was living in Pennsylvania at the time, a friend of mine out here in California owned a Jeep and was always posting pictures of him and his Jeep and all the adventures that they were going on. So several months before this, so that was July of 2017. April of 2017, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I was miserable. So I'm going through chemo. I lost my hair. Like 99% of my day, I was absolutely miserable. And it seemed like one of the few things that I found enjoyment was looking at his Instagram feed. His Jeep had its own Instagram. But I would just go through his Instagram pictures and watch all the videos and all the people that he would tag. I would go and check out their stories and it like just lit me up. Every time I thought about owning a Jeep, I felt great, first of all. So I went from feeling absolutely miserable. And the second I would begin to think about having a Jeep, I would all of a sudden perk right up. I'd get all happy and I would just feel adventurous. I felt like it gave me something positive to look forward to. Fine. So I'm following the Instagram feed. All of a sudden I'm like, I want a Jeep. So this is July of 2017. Now, understand that I barely even knew anything about the law of attraction, didn't know anything about manifestation, never heard of Neville Goddard, had no clue about this stuff, okay? So this is how easy it is. You don't need to be an expert, nor do you need to be a purist. I'm not a purist, meaning all my thoughts are clear. I never think a bad thought. I never get upset. That's a lie. Anybody that's out here telling you that they practice this stuff and their thoughts are golden and they never miss a beat and they never get upset, unless they are Jesus Christ himself or Gandhi, I don't know. Completely 100% enlightened. I doubt that they'd be on YouTube talking, but we all have negative stuff going on in our head. Anyway, knew nothing about manifestation. But I said, I am going to buy a Jeep. Now, I had mounds and mounds and mounds of medical debt. So I had no idea how much a Jeep cost. Of course, I go online. I started doing some research. As soon as I saw the price of a Jeep, I just got depressed immediately. I said, there's no way I could afford to buy a Jeep. Number one, I just can't afford it right now. Number two, my medical debt By the time I got finished with all my treatments, I had $30,000, over $30,000 worth of medical debt, plus all the other debt on top of that. So I was like, there's no way I could do this. There's no way, there's no way, there's no way. But I said, okay. I sat down with my Excel spreadsheet and I figured out within 5 years, I'll be able to get all that debt paid off and be in a position where I could buy the Jeep. I said, all right, so this is a long-term thing. Not even going to worry about it. But I used the Jeep. Like Esther Hicks talks about this. Bashar talks about this. I don't know how much Neville has talked about it. But instead of focusing on the thing that you don't have, focus on the things that you do have. Focus on the things that make you happy. Focus on the things that you already have that bring you joy. All right, well, I didn't have the Jeep, but I could easily slip into my imagination and imagine driving this Jeep around. Anytime I got in my Honda, again, I loved my Honda, but anytime I would get in my Honda, I would immediately just imagine that I was driving my Jeep. So I was easily able to just slip into that. I didn't even know that I was doing this, that feeling of the wish fulfilled. And it just brought me joy. It made me feel good. It made me feel adventurous. It gave me something to look forward to. Like it just, I was so depressed and hating on life so much. It just gave me something fun to think about. Had no idea that I was manifesting the darn Jeep. So, okay. So once I got that thought that I wanted the Jeep, I began noticing everywhere I went, Jeeps were. I am not kidding you. And I would take pictures of them and send them to my kids all the time. Like, you're not going to believe it. I just came out. I parked in Walmart, ran in, and I came out, and there's 3 Jeeps parked right along. I can't even believe this. I would be driving in traffic. A Jeep would pull out and be in front of me. And then the next thing I know, there'd be a Jeep behind me. And then 3 Jeeps coming. Now, I don't believe that the universe has some type of Men in Black situation where it's like these covert operatives that are monitoring my thoughts and putting synchronicities out there. Like, oh, she was talking about feathers the other day. We're going to drop a feather on her path. Oh, she wants a Jeep now? Okay, cue the Jeeps. Every Jeep in the planet, drop them. She's going north on Route 35. Drop every Jeep on the planet in her path. Synchronicity time, like, that's not what's happening. Because when I would say this to my kids, I would say, I keep getting synchronicities. They would say to me, Mom, there have always been Jeeps on the road. You just never noticed them. I'm like, no, I've never seen this many Jeeps. And my kids would say to me, Mom, everywhere we go, there's Jeeps everywhere. You just never noticed them. And that's so true. I was never aware that there were all of these Jeeps out there on the road. Now that I opened it up, right? Now that I'm always thinking about it and I'm thinking about this adventure and I'm getting in my car, my Honda, and I'm imagining that I'm in a Jeep, of course, that is what's going to, I'm aware now that is in my reality. That's the bridge of incidents. The bridge of incidents. So the moment that you get the thought that you have this desire to the time that it shows up in your world, in your 3D, in your pocket, in your bank account, in your garage, you're only shifting your awareness. The Jeep that I bought, it already existed. It was already created before I even had the thought. Okay? The money already exists in a timeline. The thing that you desire already exists in a timeline. You are just not conscious of it. You're not aware of it. The bridge of incidents is you coming into the awareness that you already have what you desire. Okay, so let me finish the story. So it was 7 months later. Again, I wasn't doing any manifestation techniques. I didn't know anything about manifestation. I was starting to learn about, like, I think I watched The Secret, starting to learn and listen to Abraham Hicks, but I was by no means understanding of what I needed to do. So in my mind, though, I had so much resistance. I can't afford it. This is too much. I'm in debt. There's no way. My credit is destroyed. I had all of these stories that I kept telling myself, there's no way I could buy this. I cannot afford this. That's all I kept saying. Fast forward to February of 2018. So this is 7 months later. Honestly, I would have had it a lot sooner if I had stopped telling myself all of those stories. You can't afford this. You're in debt. Your credit score is disgusting. Nobody's going to give you any money. This is irresponsible. Like, you might die next month. Why would you go out and buy a vehicle and leave that debt for your kids? Right? I had like this crazy resistance to it. So it's February 14th of 2018. Mind you, I had to go for a treatment. I was alone. It's the anniversary of when my dad died. So I was feeling terrible. I was not feeling good. I'm sitting in the hospital waiting to get a treatment, and my phone starts ringing. And it's like an 800 or an 866 number. First of all, if I don't know who's calling me, I will never answer the phone. I will never, ever answer the phone if I don't know your number. So leave me a message. 2, I would never answer if knowing like the prefix is a telemarketer or some auto dialer. I'm not answering for whatever. I don't even know why. My phone starts ringing. I look down and I answer it. And even as I go to answer it, I'm like, what did you just do? Why would you answer the phone? I answer it, and this guy, he says, hey, this is so-and-so from random Jeep dealership. We saw that you were on our site. So back in July, when I was pricing Jeeps, you know, if you go to a lot of car dealerships, their websites, a pop-up comes up, like, put your email in. What are you interested in? Blah, 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 blah. I did that months ago. Never heard from anybody. So he's like, you filled out something online, blah, 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 that you want this kind of Jeep, this color, with this package, with the whole thing. I have one sitting right here, like exactly what you wanted. I just laughed because I was like, dude, I'm so in debt. There's no way. I can't buy this thing. But it was Valentine's Day. I took the day off. I was getting the treatment. I literally would have just gone home and crawled in bed. So I said, well, I'm just going to go. The place was an hour away too, which is even more random. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a ride. I'll take the Jeep for a drive because that's going to be fun. Go down there. I have zero intentions. And this is a big point that I want. I had zero expectations. Wasn't even a 0.001% idea in my head that I was going to come home with a Jeep today. Like, zero expectation. I was like, we'll just take a ride down there, look at it, take it for a spin, and then drive home and whatever. So I get there and the salesman comes and sit down with him. I mean, I was with this guy probably a total of 3 hours. So the first hour was him trying to convince me that the Jeep is the greatest vehicle on the planet, which he didn't even need to convince me because I already believed that. I wanted the Jeep. There was no, he didn't have to convince me of any of that stuff. I wanted the Jeep. Then he lets me take it for a ride and blah, 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 blah. And we come back and I'm zero attachment to this. I had zero expectations. I was just there to have a good time. Hang out, talk to the guy, take it for a spin, and then go home. And I just kept resisting. And every like excuse that I gave him. He was like, "Oh, that's not a big deal. We'll throw that in." I said, "Well, I'm leasing this. It's only a year in and I'm going to have to pay all this money." "Oh, don't worry about it. We already checked it out. We'll take care of that." I'm like, what is with this guy? And I've bought cars before. It was never that easy. I had to go in and like give them a sob story. I'm poor, blah, blah, blah. And then, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Everything that I came back at this guy, he was like, "Oh, that's not a problem. Oh, we'll do this. Oh, we'll throw in the warranty," because I said it's used. I can't fix vehicles, and these are expensive to fix. I can't afford this. He says, "Oh, no, we throw in the warranty, bumper to bumper, blah, 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 blah." Which was a couple $1,000s. Every single thing I threw at this guy, he just met every single one. And I'm still at this point, like, dude, I am not buying this today. Finally, I said to him, "Listen, I appreciate this, but my credit is so bad. Like, I'm embarrassed to even tell you. I said I'm in debt. I have medical bills. I'm a mess. I'm embarrassed." He goes, "Well, let me just run your credit." "All right, fine. If it comes back and you're denied, go home." He goes back and he goes, "I don't even know what you're talking about." He goes, "Your credit is so good. You even get the preferred rate, which brings your payment down even lower." I'm like, what? So at some point while that's happening, I sit back and I'm saying, hold on, I don't know where this came from. I honestly don't know where this came from because I didn't know anything about Neville. I was just learning about the law of attraction. I just had this thought that this guy wants to sell me the Jeep more than even I want to manifest the Jeep. Like, I think this is this guy's manifestation. I think, like, the universe brought me in here to grant his manifestation. And I said to him, "Listen, you're like," and listen, I'm in sales. I've dealt with a lot of pushy people in sales. I know what that looks like, what that feels like. This guy was not being a pushy jerk. He was really nice. I said, "Listen, like, I don't get it. Like, why is it so important that you sell me this Jeep, like right here, right now?" He said, "Listen, I don't know, his kid was going to college and he had some financial trouble." So he tells me this whole big long story. And I'm listening to it, but I have this chatter going on in my head. What if, like, the universe brought us together so that I could fulfill his manifestation and he could fulfill my manifestation? Now, again, I didn't know anything about all this stuff. I was just learning about manifestation. And I'm literally, it's like I switched places with him. Like, this isn't about me getting what I desire. I think this is about this guy getting what he desires. And he said that he didn't use manifestation words. He didn't say intentions. He didn't use that type of lingo. But he just said, "I set these goals and I set this stuff, and every single person that walks in this door, I will sell them a vehicle. Me personally, I will sell them a vehicle. I will do whatever I need to do to sell them a vehicle because I have these goals. Blah, 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 blah." And I just looked at him. And I was like, all right, review all of this. I said, "Give me this in writing." Because when he kept throwing stuff in, I wasn't writing anything down. I was just throwing stuff out. He just kept meeting me. I said, "Write all this stuff down. Type up the contract and the financial stuff and walk me through everything that you're going to get. Walk me through everything. I guess I'm going to buy the Jeep today." Literally drove off the lot with that Jeep. And I was so worried about the financial aspect that I wasn't able to make the payments, that this was going to happen. And I never had an issue making the payments. I don't know if I just I mean, I managed my money well. I did end up paying my debt off in 1 year, not 5 years. But my point is, even with all of the negative conversations that I was having going on, even with, I wasn't doing affirmations, I wasn't writing, I'm buying a gym, I wasn't doing any of that stuff. Every once in a while, when I needed to escape my depression or when I was just feeling bad, I would just switch into like, oh, I have a Jeep. This is going to be so exciting. I can't wait till I have the Jeep. I'm going to have adventures. I would imagine going and having all these little adventures. That's all I did. That's all I did. I had so much mental negative chatter going on that even when I got it and started to really learn about that, I was like, that's pretty cool that you could still have all that resistance and it still came to me. I thought it was going to take 5 years. It took 7 months. 7 months. I would have had it sooner if I had lined up with it. If I had just stopped telling all of those stories, if I just stopped telling those stories and trusted and know, I mean, I'm always taken care of. I would have had that. Like I had the thought in July, I would have had it by August. Anyway, that's an example of what you desire desires you. Like it wasn't just my manifestation that the universe was supporting. It was this other guy's manifestation. So now think about that in terms of a relationship. If you're really clear on what it is that you desire in a relationship, you should know that there is a person or multiple people on this planet that are desiring the exact same thing as you. And I was pretty specific about the Jeep. I was very specific about the color, all the gas. Like I was pretty specific about all those things. But it didn't need to. Of course I put like the master list together and I ended up getting that. But it didn't even need to fit all of those things. I would have been thrilled, right? With just half of those things. So what you desires you as well. You're just not aware of it. If I had been aware that this was getting lined up for me, like now when I'm manifesting, or again, I don't like to, when I'm lining up with something that I desire, I think of that story where the Jeep has been sitting there all the time. So is this thing. So is my money. All of these things, they already exist. I just have to stop telling the story to myself that I can't have it or that it's not here, right? It's already here. All right, guys, just an example of that scenario. If you have any questions, post them down below and good luck.